All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first of the new Alt Nerd Obsessive podcast. This is Mo. With me, as always, my co-host and partner in crime, my hetero life mate, the one and only Horror King, Josh Teeter, or as we like to call him here, H.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
What's up, nerd?
Not too much.
So, so this is our second attempt at doing this podcast. Okay, just to give everybody a little, a little background on us. I used to run a podcast a while back, and it ran for like 10 years, something like that, about a decade, maybe a little less, and it died, and I was like, well, I kind of want to bring that one back, but like somebody pointed out to me like the other one was called Drunk on VHS, and like it was just about movies almost exclusively, and like, but I have so many more interests in that, and H has so many more interests than just movies, and we're like, man, like let's do something where we can kind of cover everything, and that was sort of the original impetus of the Alt Nerd Obsessive podcast, and we ended up having friends on who had like really interesting hobbies and were really kind of fascinating people, but we only ended up doing like 6, 7 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, we did six and we released six. We recorded the seventh, but it never made it out there.
Right. I don't even remember why. It may have just been a bad episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we sort of like, okay, and that, so it ended up getting shelved because it just kind of turned out to be too much, and finding people with crazy hobbies, while you'd think in our circles with all the crazy hobbyist friends that we have that would be easy, it actually was kind of hard. So I kind of figured this time around we'd take it a little bit more casual, and just spend the majority of the time talking about our favorite things. Um, so yeah,
Which is what we do anyway.
right, exactly. Like 99% of the time when me and H are talking, we're just talking about our favorite things. It's not going to be much different, frankly, than when we have our normal conversations, except probably with a whole lot more stammering because I'm actively trying to talk instead of just going yeah, that's awesome, that's great, I love it, yes, that's great, yes, fart poopy butt, yeah. um
Yeah, well, that tends to be kind of what we both do. So.
right, exactly. uh Sweet. I need to fix something. Hold on a second. It's not going to be the end of the world.
All right.
And yeah, just want to turn on emote chat only. So anybody who's watching this on YouTube, just give you a heads up. We stream weekly live, or we will be streaming weekly live on Twitch. Hopefully every Sunday night. If we can find a night that works out better for us, we'll do it. We'll do it on a different night. But for right now, it's Sunday nights. We are currently live in Twitch right now. So thanks to anybody who's currently sitting in our viewers right now. But believe it or not, we actually have at least one, which is nice. And it's not me. Anyway, why don't we take a second to introduce ourselves? I think anybody who's familiar, well, I'm gonna take it from the stance of whoever's listening to this, presumably on YouTube in the future after we've actually established ourselves as anything, that they're gonna want to know who we are without any previous knowledge of us. So, I am Mo von Helveda. I am a video game, movie, music enthusiast. Up until recently, had a rather large collection of VHS tapes that unfortunately I had to sell a whole bunch of them off to pay some bills. But shit happens. We all understand this in the collector world. you know, big games that I tend to play. I love survival style games, stuff like Seven Days to Die, Project Zomboid, and of course our big game, me and H's big game, is Dead by Daylight.
Currently.
Currently, you know, we're kind of hoping that with some of the crop of new games that are coming out, we might actually swap that out for something different. But you know, it didn't really work with, you know, a lot of the other games that we tried. It didn't really work with White Noise 2 or or fucking what's the other one? The Evil Dead game, or
I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah.
say it could still work with Evil Dead.
It could.
We can't get you to play it for some reason.
because I want to play games on my PC. My PS4 sounds like a rocket engine going off, man. Like that, like it's gotten to the point where like I used to not give a shit about the sound of my PS4, but now it's starting to annoy me. You know, it's too much. So like if I have the option to play something on the PC, I'm gonna play it on the PC. You know, it's just that because PlayStation is so stupid about their Discord integration that, just because they're so stupid about their Discord integration that we have to wait until they can finally do that before you guys can play on PlayStation and I can play on PC and still play.
But we have recently seen something that gives us hope that that's going to happen.
Exactly. So they were saying sometime by spring. We'll see. I don't, you know, I'll believe it when I actually see it implemented. You know, and that's the great thing too, is that like the rest of you guys all have PS5s. I still can't fucking afford one, so you know. So the fact that I can play on PC, I'd be able to play on PC while you guys play on PS5 would be fucking great. You know, that would be awesome. I would love that.
Yeah. It would be, because you know, we have people that we kind of tend not to even get a chance to talk to unless
we're playing
games with them.
That's 100% true, and that's kind of sucks. I just want to reference real quick for anybody who's watching this. If you like, you're gonna see that I'm looking like this an awful lot. My camera's in a weird spot. I gotta find a better place for it. But as far as like composition behind me is concerned, I kind of like where it's at. But it means that I end up having to look weirdly up anytime I wanna do something, and I promise my big dumb face will be off the screen in a second once we get into like actual talking points. In fact, let's just do that now. That's the wrong one. There we go. We're editing live. It's gonna take me a minute to figure out how to do all this stuff. Also, it's gonna take me a minute to stop saying all the time. Real bad habit of mine.
I think we were in the middle, or you were in the middle of explaining who you are.
Oh yeah.
Or what
I'm about. Yeah.
Interest on.
Right. So, like I said, video games, movies, I'm kind of all over the place. Cult film, you know, old sleazy movies, you know, up to everything, including modern superhero movies. Like, I'm not a Marvel hater. I like the Marvel movies. I don't get what all the hate's about. They're fun. They're fun and they're stupid. It's popcorn schlock. Get over yourselves. It doesn't have to be art every single time. You know? Like, sure, I would like every movie to be a Jan Svankmeyer's film, but, you know, just fucking just accept that, you know, Taika Waititi makes movies too.
We would we would love for everything to be a Yahoo Serious joint, but it just isn't that way.
Oh my god. Yeah, we need to do a Yahoo Serious retrospective for one of these episodes because that man made exactly 3 movies and all 3 of them are dangerously underappreciated. You know, his last movie wasn't the best, but like most people don't even know what the fuck it is. Do you know what it is? Do you know what Yahoo Serious's last movie was?
I cannot remember at this moment.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And this is a guy who knows movies. Yahoo Serious. He became famous for The Young Einstein. Everybody, that's the one most people tend to remember, especially if they're around our age. Then after that, he did a movie called Reckless Kelly, where he played a bank robber turned actor, and it was really fucking weird. And then the last movie, he was a accident prone egg factory worker named Mr. Accident. And it's adorable. It's a cute movie, but like it's definitely a forgotten gem to the ages. You know, I actually just sold all of my Yahoo Serious movies, but they went to a good home, so I'm not mad. And then, you know, music. I don't know how much we're actually going to talk about music on here, but you know, just for the sake of having it out there, I'm, you know, pretty fucking punk rock, so you know.
As am I.
Yeah. But we're both also all over the place. I listen to a lot of metal. I listen to a lot of hip hop. You know, I'm all over the place. Not a lot of country, but I do like old outlaw country. I'm down with that.
Yes.
All right, H. Why don't you tell the world who you are and make us fall in love with you?
So I'm Josh, but you know, Mo and everybody that we tend to talk to and hang around with, they all just call me H. So that's what I'm used to these days. And much like Mo, I'm a big movie nerd and video game nerd, but I'm also, you know, like I'm big into music. I buy records all the time, constantly talking about them.
Yeah, I would say that you are a bigger music nerd than I am.
And you know, as far as collecting, I collect a lot of stuff. Like I collect toys and comics and fucking. You could pretty much name it, and if it's nerdy, I probably like it or collect it.
Yeah, I mean, well, all right. So let's go down the classics then, okay?
Yeah.
Let's go down the classics. Now, keep in mind, we are a couple of men who are Gen Xers, you know, mid 40s. So of course we grew up in the 80s and the 90s. So of course for us, we're talking. Well, I mean, here's the obvious one: He-Man.
Absolutely, it's one of my number ones as far as, you know, childhood toys, and even now I have a bunch of Masters of the Universe stuff. A lot of the newer stuff, like the re-release stuff they've been doing, and yeah,
That's awesome.
Love that stuff.
All right, so I'll just go down on what would have been my top 5. So number 1 would have been He-Man easily. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thundercats.
Love them. They would be on mine as well.
Transformers.
I dig, like the original like '84 Transformers cartoon, but
right.
That's about as far into like that, and the movie that came because of that is about as far into Transformers as I ever went.
Nice. And let's see. Did you do Silverhawks or no?
I did watch Silverhawks because it was
It was back to back with Thundercats, right?
It was back to back with Thundercats for a while, and it was basically just Thundercats in space
Yeah.
more so than Thundercats was already in space.
Yeah, and Thundercats if they were birds, essentially. I mean, that's not entirely true. Thundercats was they were anthropomorphic, you know, cat-like beings, whereas
Yeah.
Silverhawks were definitely humanoid, you know, like definitely looked human, but they all had like a funky robot bird who worked with them.
Right.
I remember one of them like transformed into a guitar and he would play it or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot about Silverhawks, but I remember really loving it when I was a kid.
Yep.
What was the obsession in the 80s with things that turned into other things? Like I know there was a general rule in the 80s that like if you had a TV show or a cartoon or whatever and it was aimed at kids, it needed to be toyetic. And for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it means having the ability to make toys from the thing. I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but for the couple of you who don't know what that means, that's what it means.
And it also went the other way too. If a toy came out and it was popular,
they'd make a cartoon out of it.
There had to eventually be a cartoon.
Right, which is 100% was the case with Transformers, because in Japan the toy, I believe the toys came out first. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's been a minute since I've actually sat down and thought about Transformers. So how many done here? He-Man, Turtles, Thundercats, Transformers, Silverhawks. There's 5.
I think that was 5.
Voltron.
Voltron is good.
Voltron's good stuff. I know I was in the weird minority because I was a weird kid, but for me, you know, as I am today, big Godzilla fan. So like I spent a lot of my childhood watching Godzilla movies. I should be more specific. I spent my entire childhood watching a dubbed off the TV cassette of a Godzilla marathon they played one time.
I also had a lot of VHS tapes that were just
dubs from the TV.
Dubs from the TV. Yep.
All right, why don't you, sir, tell everybody the story real quick of of how we became friends.
So, I think honestly how I first heard of you was I have a couple of buddies who they have their own podcast that's been going for, I think over 10 years at this point. And you were on it.
Correct.
And then I think I just shot you a friend request on Facebook one day. So we became friends, and we were friends for, I want to say, a few years, but we really didn't, like, we knew that, like, we both liked the Misfits, and
right.
We both liked horror movies, so we knew we had that in common, but we didn't really interact a whole lot until a game came out called Friday the 13th, the game, back in 2017.
Right.
And I got the game, and, I was posting about it, talking about it a lot, and shortly thereafter, you got the game, and at one point, you had said, "Hey, come in here and join me in this game. Show me how to play."
Yeah, that's what the thing was. The thing was, I was desperately trying to figure out how to play the game. Like, I could not figure it out, and so I messaged him. I'm like, "Hey, you play this. Come teach me how to play this, because holy shit." Yeah.
So we jumped in there, and I went over the basics, and we we started playing together, and that's really where it kicked off, because it went from that to you know us playing pretty much every night for a while, and then uh, along the way, you were playing one night while doing a Friday the 13th marathon. You were watching all the movies.
Yeah, when I first started streaming, and not that I've been very consistent with it at all, but when I first started streaming, basically it was, I decided I wanted to sort of join the streaming community with a bang. So I decided I'm gonna stream myself playing Friday the 13th while I watch all of the Friday the 13th movies. It was 16 hours essentially. Like, I woke up early in the morning, I started with the first movie, and I just trudged my way through everything. Now, basically when I say I played Friday the 13th while watching Friday the 13th, what it means is I was playing and streaming from my PlayStation, and then I was watching them on my laptop. So it's like I wasn't even like I like the setup I have now is so much better than what I was using then. I actually have a computer that can handle all of this shit. Back then I had to stream directly from my PlayStation. But during the course of that stream, I kind of, started inviting people to come play with me, and became friends with, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 guys,
Yeah.
Who kind of became our regular rotating crew.
Yeah. These guys became our group, and we just started playing Friday the 13th every night, and
it was a lot.
Over the course of doing this, me and Mo found out that, hey, we don't just like some of the same stuff.
We like a lot of the same stuff.
We like practically all of the same stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
And our friendship just kind of grew out of that.
Yeah. And now he's my bestest buddy.
Yep.
So that's
all. And now we're doing this.
And now we're doing this. Yeah, exactly. Anything to make another excuse to chit chat. Not that we need a fucking excuse, but you know what I mean.
Not that we need one.
Actually, this is if anything, this is more of an excuse to chit chat with some of my other friends who I don't get to talk to very often.
Truth.
Anyway. So that's kind of the story of us. I know it's not the most interesting thing, but it's what we are. And to give you an idea of what to expect in future episodes, we're gonna be doing. We have bigger plans in the future. I'm not gonna give away anything quite yet. I still want. I have some plans to enact and figure out how I'm gonna do them and yada yada. But for the most part, with us, it's gonna be, we're gonna watch a movie, we're gonna talk about it, then we'll go live. We'll go live for the podcast. Do it live on Twitch. The VOD will go onto YouTube, and then we'll open it up to the chat if they have any questions for us after the fact. So sorry, chat. It's on emote only right now. You wanna post a picture of a unicorn, go for it. But other than that, like, I can't really respond to chatters while I'm trying to talk about this stuff. But we decided, since one of our biggest loves is professional wrestling, we'd kind of talk briefly, and I do mean briefly, 15-20 minutes. I don't want to go too crazy with it, because this episode's already a half an hour long. About the current state of professional wrestling, where it's at, and some of the things that we've enjoyed, recently, and like where we appreciate and like where things are going with the two big companies, because we don't watch a lot of WWE anymore. That was sort of our big thing, especially for, you know, growing up. Like WWE is my big thing. But now me and H both watch AEW primarily.
Yeah. And the thing about that is that, you know, up until most recently, at least in my opinion, WWE was kind of shit in the bed big time.
They were. They
as
absolutely
far
were
as
shitting
the
the bed.
quality of their product.
All right, so let's since the 2023 Royal Rumble just happened, you know, I'm sure there's 9 million people talking about it already, and everybody's already done their reviews for it. But we're gonna do a quick overview of it real fast, just to kind of like say what we liked, what we didn't like, yada yada. So let's just start. We'll go in chronological order for how they did it. Let's start with the men's Royal Rumble. Was there any particular highlights for you, or lowlights, for that matter?
Well, I will say that Gunther coming in early.
First.
What was he for? He was first,
he was
right?
number one. Yeah, he went
so,
goalpost to goalpost on that shit.
So yeah, him coming in at number one and lasting until the end. I was sitting watching elsewhere, and I kept telling my buddy, I was like, no, I don't think he's gonna last the whole time, but he did, and I was kind of surprised.
I'm gonna state something that I think for anybody who actually watches WWE is probably not gonna disagree with. I think Gunther is probably the biggest the biggest new generation talent they have currently. You know, like, I think there are people who are still better than him in WWE, but I think as far as like the new breed, like the new generation that's come the last couple of years, I think he's hands down the best. You know, I've been consistently impressed by the shit that he does. He can make a match out of, you know, it's like what the joke that they said about, you know, wrestling, like, you know, he's so good that he could wrestle a broom, and instead of the joke this time being that the broom is the Great Khali, it's that Gunther's the guy with the broom. You know, like I think he could make a good match out of anything. So good for him. You know, I look forward to seeing him eventually holding on to more championships and climbing that ladder. But he's in a good spot right now. And yeah, him going fucking goalpost to goalpost on that Rumble was really impressive. I'm actually okay with Cody winning.
Yeah, Cody winning was fine. I mean, you knew ahead of time that he was going to be in there, and as it progressed and he didn't come out,
Yeah.
you know, you got the sense that he was going to be last.
Right.
And, you know, coming back after the injury that he had and yada yada, it was kind of, I don't want to say expected, but it was kind of expected, at least by me, that he would win.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it.
There were a couple of moments that I didn't particularly care for, and a lot of them had to do with editing. There was a great moment where Chad Gable and Xavier Woods were Greco-Roman style wrestling in the middle of the ring, and while they were in the middle of having all these fucking cool back and forth moves, Lesnar showed up, you know, or I think it was Lesnar. It was either Lesnar or Lashley. I forget which one. One of them showed up, and they just immediately cut away. And it's like, oh, well, that was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was almost like they didn't want to show them doing that.
No, because they've
And
already
it's like, come on.
yeah, they've already perpetually pegged Chad Gable, as a lower mid card guy, and I don't think he's ever going to raise above that, even though he could have been the next Bret Hart or the next Kurt Angle. He could have been,
Yeah,
they
could have been.
Yeah, they stifled him with some really shitty fucking ideas, and it's just a shame because when he came out, man, I said fuck, he was with that I cannot remember his name.
Oh, Jason Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah.
And like watching the way those two worked, it really was like kind of like watching like a modern day Hart Foundation. It was really impressive. I don't know what happened with Jason Jordan. I guess they let him go at some point, but I had stopped watching by that point.
He's actually got some health problems, like some physical issue. Like, I read a thing about Kurt Angle talking about it recently, but
right.
I don't remember honestly what he said, but it's actually some fairly serious stuff, and that's why he hasn't been around.
That's a shame. He was my favorite hot tag guy for a while,
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I love more than a good hot tag guy, and he was as far as I'm concerned, the best in the business for a good short period of time. Poor Chad Gable then, because man, they have done him dirty over the last several years. I did think there was some pretty good build up to a lot of things. I found out something interesting when I was listening to Corny talking about the Royal Rumble. I guess Mysterio hurt himself, like for real. And that's and that's why he didn't come out when it was his time. I originally thought that they were setting that up to be more of a come in later than he was supposed to kind of get a sneaky win over on a couple of people. But no, he was just hurt, so they decided to give Dominic more heat for it, which is smart.
Yeah, that's what I thought originally too. I thought he's gonna come out like 6 or 7 people from now and get a couple eliminations, but
like
it didn't happen.
Sneak out from under the ring or whatever.
Right, and then they sent Dominic out there, and he was wearing the mask.
The mask,
and, people had a rousing boo over that, and then he took the mask off, and as he's walking down the ridiculously long entryway, he's repeatedly
just struggling
and trying to rip the mask, which he never ends up doing.
Nope, couldn't do it. They couldn't even fucking gimmick the thing. Like, come on, just cut a couple little slits in it so that they could fucking tear it off when it's time. Nope. Anyway, there were a handful of people who I wasn't happy to see again, but I'm never happy to see them, so whatever. Although, man, nothing made me happier than not only seeing Baron Corbin get trashed on the walk in, but then Seth Rollins is the next person in, throws him into the ring, and then promptly throws him out. And it's like, yep, that's how you fucking handle Corbin. Just do not give him any leeway whatsoever, and that's perfection. I also thought how they handled Lesnar was kind of perfection too. And I'm not a huge Lesnar fan, but what they did with him was beautiful. They overloaded the ring like they're gonna do, they overloaded the ring, which is great. Because a big guy is gonna show up next. And of course, it's Lesnar. He goes in there, tears ass out. Lashley comes in, tosses him. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Lesnar got a few eliminations. I don't remember how many, but
he cleared house.
He didn't go in there and just destroy absolutely everyone like
No.
you almost thought he was going to.
No. He kept some of the better talent in there, but he cleared out all of the little guys. Yeah. Sadly, I think including Kofi Kingston, who I don't know if it was at that point or before that, but he ended up missing his big spot, which I think
spot is to save himself.
Yeah, the big old save himself spot, which I believe he has failed 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, I believe it's 2 years in a row. He was trying to land on that chair so that his feet did not touch the floor, so that he would then, do some crazy thing to get himself back to the ring. But he missed it and just kind of landed sideways on the chair.
They tried playing it up at first. I think Pat McAfee, using his brain, said, "Well, I don't think one of his feet's actually touched the ground yet." And then they just kind of gave up on it, and they said, "Okay, well, I guess nobody's gonna fucking believe it if you fucking land on the ground and then magically are back on a chair again."
Yeah.
So then I think they did the right thing with him. But again, Cody winning, very good. Happy with that. Not complaining. Let's move on to one of the most ridiculous matches of the night, which is the Bray Wyatt LA Knight Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Now, we here at the Alt Nerd Obsessive Podcast don't know anything about Mountain Dew Pitch Black because we are unofficially not sponsored by RC Cola. It's just me and my RC. Delicious.
The taste that beats everyone.
The taste that only wins.
But yeah, like, I will be perfectly honest. I'm gonna have to let you do most of the talking about the details on this one, because I actually had to use the bathroom during this match, and by the time I was done, it was over.
I'm not gonna lie, this was the piss break match of the night. So,
but I will say that the effect they had with the glow in the dark ropes and things, and
it was neat,
and like Bray's glow in the dark paint. But that you didn't see until the lights went out.
Yeah, that was awesome. Because I was thinking that to myself too.
Cool.
I'm like, his skin looks weird, I was thinking to myself, his skin looks weird, and then when the black light came on and he was all glowed up, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So basically, this idiotic match. First off, how much fucking money did Mountain Dew have to give them for that? Because when was the last time you saw a WWE ring branded that heavily with another company's logo?
I don't remember them ever doing that, honestly.
I mean, I'm struggling right now to think of one myself, but like, holy shit! Like, Mountain Dew must have given them so much money. But yeah, everything was day glow, and under black lights, it all was shiny, and there were some neat little ideas there, like when they crashed through the announcer table and all of the all that day glow confetti spread everywhere. Like, that's kind of cool. I mean, a little stupid, but kind of cool, because why the fuck is all that shit in the fucking thing to begin with? But whatever. Not going to complain about that. My big complaint is how bad Captain Howdy botched his drop. And I have to admit, I'm going to sound like an angry old man here talking, but like, if you're trying to show the world that you're pulling off these death-defying acts, I'm fine with a little bit of safety. Safety third. That's what I always say. But but don't make it so fucking obvious. Like when he took that fucking dive and you could see all the boxes and like all the nonsense and the fact that he hit the boxes 4 feet away from where LA Knight was.
Yeah,
it's like
he went completely over him, didn't he?
yeah, he went past him and off to his right. And it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Yeah, that was a really rough match. And then for some reason Wyatt throws a mask on and I don't know. It was stupid. Like I love Bray Wyatt's brain for wrestling. I really think he's very clever, but he also needs to work with a really good editor. It's the Quentin Tarantino effect. You give Quentin Tarantino carte blanche to make a movie, and it's going to be long and over bloated and over dialogued and so much exposition, and it's going to be not great. But if you give somebody a little bit of editorial control over his stuff, and they can bring that shit down a little bit, cut down just to the important best parts and make it a damn good movie. That could have been a damn good match if they had just brought down some of the crazier elements and actually had a really good wrestling match in the middle of all these gimmicks. Bray can do it. He's a fucking phenomenal wrestler, I mean, fucking Taker seems to think so.
Absolutely. Bray could do it, but
he could.
He's got to be in there with the right person too.
Right.
And I don't think LA Knight was it.
No. I got nothing against LA Knight. I don't really know him. Like I remember he used to have a different name, and I can't fucking remember what it was. And then I had seen some matches when he was that other guy. Fuck, man, I feel like an idiot tonight because I really can't remember what it was, but it doesn't matter. So I know he can put on good matches. He's not a bad wrestler, and Bray's not a bad wrestler. Just take the supernatural shit down one peg. That's all you got to do. One peg.
Mm-hmm.
And just bump up the actual wrestling.
Well, that's always, almost always what needs to come first with WWE is that they need most of their show, especially their 3-hour fucking show now.
Yeah.
Needs to be wrestling primarily.
Yeah.
Because the way they do it is it's mostly talking and junk, and
it's so much fucking storyline now.
And that's their biggest problem.
I would tell you, I would say if they had like an amazing writing staff, which they don't, but if they had an amazing writing staff, I'd say, yeah, let them talk all fucking day. Or even better, hand them a fucking mic and let them cut their own promos.
The way that they used to.
The way they used to, like that's the problem is like the training center, the performance center, that's the word I'm looking for. Yes. They teach every WWE superstar to be a WWE superstar, and then they're going to struggle everywhere else they go because they never learned how to talk on a mic. They never learned how to or not necessarily just to talk on a mic, but to improvise on a mic. Like you just don't see it anymore. And again, I know I sound like an angry old man just ranting, but it's the truth.
It is the truth, because if you look back at the time when they were allowed to do their own promos,
yeah,
they were all so much better than any of them are now.
Or they crashed and fucking burned, and they got better because they were allowed to learn. So give me one second. I'm just gonna pop the top on this delicious RC Cola. Just not not sponsored at all. Just gonna fill my cup with this delicious RC Cola. Listen to that sweet, sweet goodness. let's see. I'm just gonna put this RC Cola can right here behind me, so that I can be on camera for the rest of the thing. Hey RC, give us a call.
Yeah, just a quick little message is all we need.
Yeah, just call us up and let us know that that you have absolutely no interest in sponsoring our show. All right, moving on. Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. What the fuck is going on with Alexa Bliss? She comes out and, you know, I thought that all of the fucking weirdo supernatural shit was behind her. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. Bianca Belair, amazing as always. You know, if there's anybody on the roster right now who deserves to be women's champion, it's Bianca Belair. She's fan-fucking-tastic. I love her.
And as far as Alexa Bliss, she's great, but I don't think even she knows what's going on with her because to go back to what we were saying a minute ago, I don't think WWE knows for sure what they want to do with her.
Exactly. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I don't want to talk about this one too much. Like, just so they had a pretty good match. You know, it was an okay match. And then for some reason, after just watching I keep saying Captain Uncle Howdy. I keep thinking this is Strangeland. You know, after we just watched Uncle Howdy elbow drop off of a giant fucking structure onto LA Knight, now we're getting an Uncle Howdy video. They should have reversed those matches.
Yeah, seems like it should have gone the other way around.
Yeah, show the video first and then have him show up. It's so weird. Not to mention the fact that, like, they did a women's match and then followed it up immediately by the women's rumble. They should have done the men's rumble, Belair versus Bliss, Wyatt versus LA Knight, women's rumble, and then the main event. You know, it would have flowed better. It would have made more sense story wise. You know, but all I know is that after the match, Alexa gets visited by Uncle Howdy again in the form of a video, and she's starting to go crazy again. So yay! Because remember how awesome it was the last time she did that? I mean, don't get me wrong, she wore some really cute outfits, but, you know, other than that, it really wasn't anything special.
Because, again, you could just see that they had no clue what they were going to do with her.
Right, exactly. So, let's just move on. I didn't want to talk about that one that long anyway. Let's talk about the women's Rumble match. Now, this one, there were some real, like, legitimate shockers in this one. Like, the fucking return of Nia Jax. A wrestler who I thought they had deemed so unsafe in the ring that they were never going to let her back. And she must have proved something to someone because they let her back.
Yeah, it was the return no one asked for.
It was literally the return no one asked for. You know, and I was a Nia Jax supporter when she first came out. I said, "Oh, I like her, man. She's a monster in the ring. She's, you know, powerful, yada yada. You know, because she was big and strong. And then she started hurting people, and I'm like, no, I can't support somebody who's hurting people."
Initially, I was a fan of her too, and then, you know, she hurts this person, she hurts the next person, she hurts that person.
Right.
And then
and then she hurt her hole, and then you know,
she damaged her hole.
Yeah, we do love a good my hole joke, but
I was a little surprised that, you know, when she got eliminated or whenever, that there wasn't a callback to that, but
there should have been. There absolutely should have been. That would have been amazing. But yeah, so she did that thing where she comes into the ring and everybody gangs up on her and she looks tough by throwing them all away, rah, you know, and then they promptly gang up on her again and toss her out. So, hi Nia, bye Nia, you know. Rhea looking strong through the entire match and is the only possible person who would have been worth it to have them win that Royal Rumble. I don't remember if she came in first or second. I want to say it was first, but, first to last, just killing it. She did a fantastic job the entire Rumble match.
Yeah, I would have been okay with, Beth Phoenix winning it, but she wasn't even in it, I don't believe. Was she?
I don't even fucking remember, dude. I know she helped out in the men's match when when Ripley was doing something to someone. I don't know, whatever, but
and if she was, then my mistake. But
yeah, I don't remember.
I would have been okay with her winning it as well.
But there was at least one other really big surprise that I was genuinely shocked about, because I didn't recognize her music because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time when she was on. But when the fucking music hit and they announced Michelle McCool, I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, fucking what? Like, what year is this?
And she just took off her jacket and came right up from her seat at ringside
in kind of a spectacular fashion. Like, she stood up right on the barricade and then jumped. It was fucking awesome. Yeah. She got some good moves in too. Like, she wasn't just like an in and out kind of. It wasn't an in and out situation. Giggity. She actually pulled off some maneuvers and was in there for a minute. She was in there longer than Nia Jax was.
Yeah. I'll say what I said while I was watching it is that how are you going to be married to The Undertaker and have an appearance in the Women's Royal Rumble and not tombstone a bitch?
That's true. That's true. You're not wrong. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't have been mad if Liv Morgan won either. They both put on a great performance for that whole show. But again, Rhea winning was a great choice. She put on a hell of a show. Good for her. Let's move on quickly to the final match, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care about. I skimmed through a lot of it, but I watched the aftermath stuff. Because you kind of knew what was gonna happen. Frankly, you knew that Roman was gonna get Kevin in a bad spot, and that Sammy was gonna save his ass. Which is kind of what happened, and then
and they drew it out long enough that it really seemed like they were calling for somebody to come out there and help, but they didn't. It just took Sammy a while to do what you knew he was gonna do.
Yeah, and that's fine. I have not been a fan of Roman's since day one. There's never been anything about him that I've just seen him and been like, yes, this is my guy, because he's not. He's just, I find him incredibly boring. He's relying so much on the fact that he's Samoan to further along his story progression. And it's like, okay, we get it. You're part of the big Anoa'i family. So were 900 other people who didn't make a big deal about it and still got fucking famous,
Yeah.
Like, shit, man. Look at fucking Rikishi. Motherfucker had to have 3 different fucking characters before he finally found something that was good for him. And it still wasn't revolving around him being Samoan. Yes, he's Samoan, but his gimmick didn't revolve around that.
And most people don't even remember Kwang.
Right. Exactly. Kwang. Yeah, so it was kind of a wild what's the word I'm looking for? I knew this was going to happen at least once. Well, after the bell, when they all attacked Owens, you know, like that was pretty wild. Like that was really emotional. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched any WWE since then, so I really don't know where they went with it. But I'm it was interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go, because I don't know if it was both the Usos or one of the Usos ended up leaving with Sammy. So I believe.
Yeah, well, yeah. He left. Sammy was still in the ring, but he left because he didn't want any part of it. I can't remember if it was Jimmy or Jay. I think it was Jay.
I think it was Jay.
But apparently he later confirmed on social media that he was out of the bloodline.
Right. So I mean, you know, this is good long term storytelling, basically. Which is awesome. You know, like WWE has not done good long-term storytelling in a very long time. So good. Let them play this out. Let's see where it goes. You know, it's turned a corner now. So now it's focusing a little less on Sammy with Roman, and now we've got Sammy and Jay, and we might see where that goes. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yep. And Sammy has a new T-shirt now that's just like his previous T-shirt, except that there's tape over the bottom part where it says Uso and it says Zayn on it now. So that's funny.
That is funny.
That's funny.
He did make famous the whole Usi thing.
And they all laughed about that too. That was like they were all
Roman was corpsing bad. She was fucking hilarious. All right, so let's move on to what's going on with like AEW now, you know.
Sure.
We've got a couple of big I'm sorry, I keep touching my face and it's blocking my face from over the camera, yada yada yada. Brain just shut off. Yeah. We've got sort of the big story right now, the build up to MJF and Bryan Danielson. Jesus,
Bryan Danielson. There you go.
I'll never get it right. Literally never. It's become so bad with me and H that we just call him Dan.
Yep.
Because that's the only thing he's got. Dan in both parts. Dan is doing great.
Yep. He's often just Dan.
Just Dan. And and here's the great thing is that like so Bryan Danielson has to go through this gauntlet of you know baddies being thrown at him from MJF but if he can get through them, then he's gonna do a 1 hour Iron Man match with Dan. I forget when. I think it's in March. I think it is. It's whatever. Yeah, event. Whatever the big event is in March. Yeah, so that's awesome. That's you know like you know that Dan is just gonna fucking plow through everybody anyway. You know he's gonna make it look good.
They've already shown him like getting a shoulder injury and then basically saying, "Screw that, I'm wrestling anyway."
Right, making him look tough.
And then you know he still won his match, and you know he like you said he's just gonna keep going right through him till he gets to MJF, and then that's gonna be a really good match.
Right. It's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait for that to happen. They're also building up again to Joe and Wardlow again, which is it should be a good match. I don't know what's been going on with Wardlow, that he hasn't really been wrestling much lately. I don't know.
He hasn't been on TV in a number of weeks, but
yeah, but that's sort of the state of AEW right now.
Yeah.
They don't have the time. They only have 3 hours a week, which is less than one of WWE's shows.
Right, and that's that's if you don't count like Dark and
well, I'm specifically talking TV
Dark
time.
Elevation, but yeah.
I
mean, those shows are entertaining for what they are, but you can't really count them.
It's not the same, no. And admittedly, you and I do watch Dark and Dark Elevation pretty regularly. It's been a minute since we've tuned in, but we do watch that a lot more than we probably would normally.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking it's so entertaining. There's just the stupidest squash matches and all the fucking jobber matches, and like jobbers get to have storylines. It's fun.
And for whatever reason, we are big fans of some of the AEW jobbers.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah,
most of them, honestly.
A good chunk of them, because they're all funny personalities, and like, I mean, and the fact, okay, first off, we all know that this was 100% Chris Jericho who did this, and bless him for it, man, he has got such a good brain for wrestling, but.
He really does.
The whole thing going on between like his faction and Action Andretti, who essentially was a jobber brought in by Chris Jericho to kick his, he was going to kick this guy's ass to prove that he was a tough guy. And the fucking dude puts on match of the night and destroys Jericho in just sheer, utter booking genius.
And it honestly was all Jericho's doing, because he I read it somewhere, he had said that, he saw this guy and he liked what he saw, and he specifically wanted to bring the guy up and make him a star.
Good.
And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. And they strapped a rocket to him. That they're giving him TV time. They're booking him well for now, and the dude's doing fantastic. Like it's awesome to see this happening. What else do we've got? I'm trying to think of what some of the other bigger storylines. Well, I mean, I know there's the one that we dread every time it comes up. And that's Jade Cargill with her unbroken winning streak.
Right. I really don't understand.
I don't get it.
Why they've given her a streak and why they're keeping it intact, and who are they saving her for?
I think they're just. I think it's got to be they're just doubling down. They just got it. They have to be just doubling down on it because at this point, if they end the streak, then the streak was for nothing. But if they keep it going, it can get it will the crowd will start to turn on it. I mean, just look at our little group of people who watches wrestling together. We've already started turning on it.
We started turning on Jade, I want to say a couple of months ago, even.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Because we just realized that she's not very good. She's not particularly entertaining.
No, she's got the look, she's got attitude, she's got character in the sense that, she cosplays as interesting sort of pop culture images, but she puts on boring matches and is not really great on the mic.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, as far as her, pop culture references, I could make some comments about her Chitara outfit that she wore a while back. But
the fact that it was basically ass cheeks akimbo.
Yeah, anybody who saw that would know what I was going to say.
Well, I mean, I gave it away, but yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she looked good in the outfit. I don't have any problem with that. I think just strictly speaking on like look and physique, yeah, she's got it. She absolutely she strikes an intimidating pose, and she's an attractive woman who who has that kind of it factor. But she can't talk on the mic, and she can't wrestle. Or the wrestling she does do is mediocre at best. Like, I mean, fuck, even Bill Goldberg had 2 or 3 moves that he did really well.
And honestly, I can't say where I'm seeing that she's getting any better on either of those fronts.
She's not. She gets all this time off TV, and yet she's not improving herself. Or maybe she is trying to, and it's just not working.
If she is trying to, it's not coming across for me.
No, me neither. I don't get it. But that's the thing. Like, let's face facts. Right now, the AEW women's division is a little lacking. You know, they've got
a little bit.
They've got a handful of really good talent. Their best talent is out injured.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They don't use the other. I mean, like, even people who have gotten over at this point, like Ruby Soho, they don't use her enough or well enough for what she could be getting done.
Yeah, she came in there a few months back and she was real hot at first, but I don't think I've seen anybody cool off as quick as she did.
Yeah, and it's just a fucking shame because she's talented and she should be shooting for higher belts than where she's at. I mean, that being said, I like Jamie Hayter. I don't think she's a bad champion at all.
No, I like her too.
But if they don't give that belt immediately back to Thunder Rosa when she comes back, I'm gonna be pissed. Oh boy, am I gonna be pissed.
And I'm hoping we'll find out some point soon when she might be back, because
it's been a minute.
Boy, do they need her.
They really do. And frankly, they should be bringing more of the Joshi wrestlers in, Like, they've got so many to fucking play around with who are crazy talented, and they're not using them.
Yeah.
It's like they're using Emi Sakurai so much. And she's great. Like, don't get me wrong, I love her. She's great for Dark and Elevation. Like, she's perfect on those shows. Do I think she necessarily belongs on Rampage or Dynamite? No, not really. But some of these other, like Magic Girl, absolutely. You kidding me? I'm really bad with Japanese names, so I don't remember half of their names, and I feel fucking terrible about it. But I remember their monikers, and she's Magic Girl. She's fucking great. Or who's the other one? The one who you are amazed that she's even a wrestler because she's so tiny.
Oh, Riho.
Riho.
Yes.
Riho's fantastic. Super talented, crazy skill. I think the only problem with her winning a belt is that it's kind of unbelievable, because she's so fucking small.
But then, like, every now and then, her being tiny works for her, because, like, we were watching a match, and I don't remember who she was against, but she's so fucking small that they tried to pin her, and she bridged and slid out from under them.
Yep.
Like,
I mean,
when have you ever seen that?
Right, and I've seen her do that twice. You know, I'm sure it's a regular part of her gimmick, of her routine. But that man, the amount of strength that it must take to bridge yourself out of a pin, you know, and it's not even like she's bridging herself out by lifting the other person up. She's like sliding out from underneath them while bridging up, and it's like, Jesus Christ, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent. There's a big talent pool out there, you know, and they keep going back to here. Oh well, here's another thing. As it just kind of hit me as well as I'm thinking about it, with as far as our AEW women's are concerned. Well, I guess technically this would be an ROH thing, but like Athena just won the fucking ROH women's title.
Yeah.
You know, and how many times have you seen her since? Two,
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, you know. And Athena is one of the people who I truly believe has the talent to go far in that company, and they're just using her wrong. It's a real shame.
I think so too. And it was the same when she was Ember Moon in WWE. Like,
right.
They gave her a decent look and a decent idea for a gimmick and whatever, but they didn't use her enough.
Like you said with Ruby Soho, they cooled her off real fast when she came up from NXT, and it was just a shame, really, you know. Anyway, we are pushing a very long time on this, so let's wrap this up here. We have plenty more to talk about. We're gonna do wrestling episodes pretty regularly, and I've got buddies who are really into WWE who can give us a better idea of what's happening over there, and I've also got buddies who are really into New Japan who can kind of give us an idea of what's happening over there. The only stuff that I really know about that's happening with New Japan is like the big events that make it over here on like the pay-per-views and stuff, or the the transfer wrestlers who are coming in to do work with AEW, you know.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with some other federations. I don't know if I've got anybody who knows that much about like AAA or any of the Mexican feds or the Puerto Rican feds, but you know,
not sure.
I'm really not sure, but if I can find somebody, I'll have them on. They can talk about it.
And I will say that at some point in a future episode, we've got to talk about what I believe is the biggest crime AEW is committing, and that is their lack of use of Danhausen.
Well, that's true. That's 100% true. Well, I mean, shit, man, we could do a whole episode on Danhausen, but
we probably could.
Yeah, we'll save that one for next time though. So tune into the next big wrestling show. That ain't gonna be next week. Next week we're gonna do a movie. Well, fuck it, I'll announce it now. Next week, next week, join us as we talk about one of me and H's favorite fucking movies of all time. Not for everybody, but definitely for us. We're going to be talking about The Greasy Strangler.
One of the weirdest off-the-wall movies you're ever going to see if you haven't seen it. And especially if you haven't seen it, fucking join us because it's going to be awesome.
Right. We're gonna be I don't want to announce anything else too much. I'll just say join my Discord. I'll post a link in the about section on my Twitch channel. And yeah, join the Discord. Join us on Sunday nights. You know, we'll let everybody know real quick whether or not there's going to be a movie that night or not. And, you know, we'll invite people to come and chit chat with us while we talk about movies. And then we'll do the podcast.
And don't be afraid to join, because, you know, if we can get a couple extra people in to talk with us about it,
absolutely,
that's gonna make it all the better.
Absolutely.
So, Greasy Strangler, it's gonna be awesome.
Indeed. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Don't forget to drink your RC Cola. It's just me and my RC. Not a sponsor.
Unless they want to be.
Unless they want to be. I swear. Good night, folks.